all have to listen. All right, good afternoon, fellow Democrats. I am honored to welcome you to our State Central Committee and Reorganization meeting here in Marion, beautiful Marion County. Okay, so you know we've got important business to attend to, and so we're going to get to it. I call this meeting to order. A quick reminder, if you have not been credentialed, which means you haven't got one of these dots, please go to the credentials table in the lobby to retrieve your credentials badge immediately. You must complete credentialing before the credentials report is given by Carlene Riley, our credentials chair, and she's going to come in the next few minutes and do that. So if you haven't gotten credentialed and you haven't gotten credentialed before she comes in to give a report, you won't be credentialed. So please get credentialed. All right, will you please rise if you're able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So I want to make one announcement before I give just a few brief closing remarks. This weekend we were going to award our Volunteer of the Year Award to Sue Hagemeyer, a longtime SEC member, Vice Chair of the Rules Committee, and dedicated Democratic activist. As you may know, Sue passed away in February, and unfortunately her family cannot join us today, so we will postpone that award until the Wayne Morse dinner, when her daughter Emily can receive it on Sue's behalf. I know Sue's work was remarkable, and she has so many friends here today. So I'd ask you to join me today in a moment of silence in her honor. Thank you. Since today is my last day serving as your State Central Committee Chair, and before I depart, I'd like to take just a few minutes to talk about how I became involved with and worked for change within the party and how it tied in to my work with LGBTQ rights. I first came into the party as a complete outsider in 2003. At that time, I was co-chair of Basic Rights Oregon Board and was appointed by the DPO Vice Chair, one of my few mentors in my life, Meredith Wood-Smith, who's sitting in the audience, our former chair. She appointed me to the party's Affirmative Action Committee for the National Convention Delegate Selection Plan. That was back in 2003. I was the first LGBT member in the committee's history. At that time, there was a deep lack of LGBT representation in the Democratic Party at both the national and state levels. And despite my participation on that Affirmative Action Committee in 2004, Oregon sent just 2 token LGBT members to the DNC convention in Boston. The Kansas delegation that year even topped Oregon, sending 3 LGBT delegates. So I was angry and I was frustrated with the party leadership. I took a very hard tone and even threatened to file an objection with the Democratic National Committee to stop the seating of the entire Oregon delegation in 2004. But after a lot of angry talk with the DPO staff and officers, I took a time out for a few days, paused, and thought about looking for a less confrontational compromise. The result was a negotiated agreement with the DPO to create the first ever DPO LGBT caucus after the 2004 election. That was the deal. So you may remember that 2004 was a rough year for the LGBT community when the Oregon courts stopped and voided local same-sex marriages. On election night in November, not only did Kerry lose to Bush, but Oregon voters amended Oregon's constitution to ban same-sex marriages. This was one of the bleakest times for my community, but together we doubled down and again began to gradually see real progress both locally and nationally. In 2005, I was proud to represent the newly organized DPO LGBT caucus as its president. However, when I walked into my first SEC meeting that year, I felt very alone. I didn't know anybody, and I just felt like I was the only LGBT person in the room. There had never been a DPO resolution about LGBT rights. So early in 2006, the caucus and I sponsored a DPO resolution to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell. As you may remember, that's the law that a Democratic president in Congress passed in the 90s that barred openly gay service members. We used that DPO resolution to gain attention by testifying before local governments and in the legislature. Next, the LGBT caucus endorsed our first candidates and supported them in the 2006 elections, helping to elect Virginia Linder, the first Oregon Supreme Court lesbian justice, and helping Tina Kotek as she began her road to become the first lesbian Speaker of the House in the nation. We then lobbied the legislature. In 2007, adopted a comprehensive non-discrimination bill, and they also adopted a statewide domestic partnership law. By 2007, I was elected the first openly gay DPO vice chair and became one of a very small group of LGBT Democratic National Committee members. With the 2008 National Convention, Barack Obama took the stage with over 10 LGBT Oregon national delegates present. I remember standing proudly with my partner Dan as Senator Obama became the first presidential nominee in our party's history to promise to fight for the LGBT community as national television cameras zoomed into our smiling faces. From that point forward, our progress accelerated. In 2010, Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed and gay service men and women served openly in our military. And in 2012, President Obama publicly supported same-sex marriage, the first sitting United States president to do so. From here, the momentum of our movement would lead to some of the most important victories in our time. In 2014, 10 years after Measure 36 passed, it was struck down by the courts and all Oregonians won the freedom to marry who they love. And just a year later, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that state bans on same-sex marriages were unconstitutional, and for the first time, marriage equality was achieved in all 50 states. The DPO Resolution 2015-070, sponsored by Casey Hansen and the LGBT Caucus, commemorates the achievements of the Democratic Party of Oregon and all the activists who brought about change for our LGBTQ citizens, and celebrates the Supreme Court's decisive words, and I quote, "They ask for equal dignity in the eyes of the law. The Constitution grants them that right." So, as I read, we have a DPO LGBT caucus with almost 2,000 tagged members. Last year, there were 23 LGBTQ Oregon delegates at the National Convention, joining over 600 LGBTQ national delegates. Our 4 Oregon LGBTQ DNC members join now with over 50 at the DNC, including the first openly bisexual elected governor in the history of the United States, Kate Brown. So along this journey, I've had to work with those I've disagreed with. It can be frustrating when members of your party do not share the same vision as you do, or the same concerns that you do. You will get angry. You will get angry, though, because you're passionate about the issues that will help those in need. And that's why you're here, why we're all here. Because we're passionate about the issues that matter most to our communities. That's what I've learned during my time in this party. People are here because they want to advance the greater good. We must remember that, recognize that, and empathize with that. We will not succeed in creating progress if we do not work together. Through communication and compromise, we can grow this party and be stronger in the tough elections ahead of us. In Oregon, we already have a lot to be proud of. In just the past few years, we've raised the minimum wage for thousands of hardworking families. We've expanded voter access by the hundreds of thousands with Motor Voter. We're still the only state with no restrictions on abortion. And leading Democrats now across the state have rallied to protect our immigrant communities. But all this progress that we work for, all of it that we work for, is at risk under the illegitimate Trump administration. Only together can we protect the progress we have made. Only together we can continue to move forward and create policies that work for all Oregonians. Working together is always harder than the alternative. Working together is always harder than the alternative, but it is worth it, I promise. Thank you. So I'd like to introduce your officers. First, our retiring and fantastic first vice chair, Karen Packer. Our other retiring vice chair, male vice chair, Wayne Kinney. Let's see, who goes next? Our secretary, Tanya Shively. Her last meeting as a secretary, but she will continue on as a DNC member. We've got our treasurer, Representative Julie Payton. And DNC members Travis Nelson and Matt Keating. It's been a pleasure to work with each one of you, and I will miss each one of you. Thank you. Thank you. Especially. All right. Let's see. I believe now I would like to do an appointment I need to make to carry out the rest of the functions of this meeting. So I'm appointing as parliamentarians Wayne Kinney and Alice Bartlett. Bartell. I knew I was going to mess up. Sorry, Alice. I wrote it down, I didn't do it right. Sorry. Thank you, Alice. All right, so credentials reports. Carlene, are you back there somewhere? Yes, it's Carlene. Carlene Riley, our credentials chair. Let's give her a big hand. Carlene, why don't you come on up, because it's a big room and they all want to hear you.
Carlene, up there.
Now that I've gotten beyond knee surgery, I can actually walk up here and talk to you. We have exceeded all expectations. We have 153 people who have signed in as delegates. That's about half as many as we've ever had before while I've been doing it. Half as many. Wait, no, half as many more. About 50% more than we ever had. And I was a science major. And our guests have gone to the rafters up there. We might sign in 15 or 20 guests at the most, and we must have 100 here. So. The big time. Thank you all for coming, and thanks to all my team for working so hard. It was a bit of chaos, and no one died.
Thank you, Carlene. So let's see. I need a motion right now, so I'm going to recognize one of our stalwart motion makers, Judy Sugnet, to. So Judy has moved for the approval of the bylaws and standing rules as required by Article 5, Section 3 in the agenda. That's correct? Yes. Is there a second? There's a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. So we are now able to immediately proceed to the election of officers. Yay. Excuse me? My parliamentarian says that isn't necessary, Ms. Ron. All right. Any other? Okay. So, to start with our elections, I invite Mr. Kinney up to the podium to kind of explain what we're all going to do here. Is that okay? Come on.
Hi. How y'all doing? Good. I've been asked to walk through our election rules, answer any questions if you have any, etc., etc. The first thing we're going to do when we get ready is we're going to go through the elections, first chair, then female vice chair, male vice chair, and then secretary. We'll do them singly. We have nomination speeches of 2 minutes, and then the candidates speak for 5, up to 5. 5 minutes is a lot of time. But I want to walk through the rules. What we'll do is we will read off the names of the candidates for chair first. We will ask them to send their nominators up here. We will have the nominators then go through their allotted time. Then the candidates will be invited to come up and give their presentation. Once that happens, then the Credentials Committee will be passing out ballots. You will have ballots. They're actually using a kind of a newer system. where you check off boxes appropriate for the candidate. Now here's the really important part. The DNC requires that ballots be signed for those people who are ultimately DNC members. And as you know, your chair and your first vice chair are DNC members by virtue of their office. And so you sign on the back. That is, so when someone is tallying ballots, they don't necessarily see how a particular person votes, but we verify that someone has voted. So signatures on the back, you vote on the front. Repeat after me. Vote on the front, sign on the back. Very good. We have had people who have voted on the back and signed on the front. We have had people who voted and signed on both sides. We've had someone who signed and forgot to vote, and someone who voted and forgot to sign. So, and these supposedly are intelligent people. I certainly hope so. They're the more intelligent party. And so, but I guess it's a little confusing. If no one wins a majority, then we will re-vote. Now, this first race for chair is 2 people. There is still a chance that we would have to have a re-vote if people cast blank ballots enough to affect the majority. That has actually happened once before. We have a possibility, of course, in the female vice chair and secretary race of a second ballot. We'll do that if we need to get to it. The male vice chair ballot, there is only 1 person on it, so we can do that one by acclamation unless somebody announces that they're a write-in candidate. And that is one thing we're going to make sure. There's a space for write-ins and on the ballot. And as we call out the names of the people who have been nominated, we then ask, are there any write-in candidates? And we'll go through that. We've had write-in candidates in the past, one in the past who was successful. But that's once since we started doing it this way back 10 years ago. Each candidate has the opportunity to name 2 people to observe the counting. They cannot interfere with it. If they can, Frank is going to announce the names of 2 people to do the observing and sort of be election judges. Those are the people who can rule on whether or not a ballot is appropriate. And we follow an intent sort of standard. If we can tell who the person intended to vote for, that's how it will be. We're not going to play a game with that. It's just not right. You know, we try to figure out the intent. There are going to be cases where we can't figure that out. If that's the case, we will try to determine that, and we will consult with the candidates' observers as we do that. But bear in mind who each candidate wants to have doing observing. I believe tell Rachel Barnett who your people choices are, so that they can come into the counting room. Because the only people in the counting room are going to be the people counting the ballots, the observers appointed by the chair, and the observers appointed for that race by the candidates themselves. Now, again, ballots are going to be brought to you. There is a table at mid-court with the boxes on it. You will drop your ballot off there. And then they will be checked by credentials to make sure things match. Although, everybody on this side of the room has a green dot on them. And so we pretty well know who's here and who's entitled to vote. And then they will come out and announce, and we will move forward until we're done with the day. Once we're done electing our officers, we will then recess. And we will elect we have 6 Central Committee members that we elect directly to the Executive Committee. The Executive Committee, as you know, is mostly constituency-based. This process gives rank and file Central Committee members a chance to be on the committee itself. And I'll just briefly describe the areas, and we'll do it again. Those of you who live in one of the 3 metro counties will form one group and will elect 3 people. Those of you in Western Oregon who aren't in the 3 metro counties, so Larry from Astoria, someone from, Andy from Tillamook, somebody from Jackson County, Allen, somebody on that whole side that doesn't have the 3 metro, they will elect 2 people. And then all the eastern counties will elect 1. It's a roughly population based. We'll do that, then we'll reconvene and do the other business of the day. Does anyone have any questions? I've either bored you or I've described things so well that you know this system in and out? Both, great. Okay, thanks. Just remember, you're going to get a ballot. You're going to see where to mark it. You're going to sign on the back. You're going to put your ballot in the box, and we'll just keep going. Thanks for your time. Chuck. No. Yeah, we know who you are. Mary. I'm sorry? We're not worried about that. You know, try to sign legibly as you can. You know, we'll figure it out. Okay, anything else? Well, I guess it says print your name too. So, we won't throw your ballot out if you don't know. Again, we do in 10. Okay, let's get on with it. Okay, go ahead, sir. Do we need to use pencils? Who says yes, you have to use pencils. I guess that's why we passed them out. We've never seen pencils in here before. I wasn't sure what they were. Anything else? Are we ready to start all this? All righty.
All right, the first election is for the state party chair. We have 2 candidates who have filed, and I'm going to go in alphabetical order. Gene Atkins and Larry Taylor. Before we invite nominators for each of those candidates, and before I ask whether there's any write-ins, I want to make sure, as Wayne has told me, to appoint my observers. These are the chair's observers, and I appoint, who else but Wayne Kinney and Leah LaFleur are the chair's observers for ballot counting. So, are there any write-in candidates for chair of the state party? Any candidates for write-in? Any candidates for write-in? The nominations are closed. So at this point, I would invite the person who is going to nominate Gene Atkins for state party chair to the podium.
State Representative Alyssa K. Geyer from Southeast and Northeast Portland, and I am honored to nominate Gene Atkins as a state party chair. I have known and admired Gene for many years. First, when she led House Representative Jeff Merkley, his team in the House, and they recaptured the majority, which I am still blessed to be a part of today. Then when she became the state director for U.S. Senator Merkley, and the incredible work that he's done there. And then finally, when she was appointed to be Secretary of State. In all of these roles, Gene has been a quiet but powerful and effective voice for progressive policies. She has worked behind the scenes to build strong coalitions to pass these policies. And I know that she will continue to do this in this new role. Thank you.
And I want to talk to you about leadership. Over the years, I have worked with many people in many numerous organizations. Some were good leaders, some not so good, but a few were exceptional. I am not a fan of top-down, divide-and-conquer strategies. The leaders I admire stress inclusion and cooperation, a shared decision-making process, transparency, and communication. I believe Gene Atkins is this type of leader. Gene's work for women's rights and the Oregon House Democrats in Senator Merkley's office and as Secretary of State, along with her grassroots in the trenches activism, bring a unique and broad-based perspective to our party. I sincerely hope that you will join with us and vote for Jean Atkins, a highly qualified, exceptional leader, to be our next chair. Thank you.
So now I invite okay, we're going to be generous about that because we were a little late here at the time, the nominating speeches. All right, sir. Okay, thank you, Executive Director. All right, I invite the nominating person or persons for candidate Larry Taylor for State Party Chair to the podium.
And very nervous to be here because I am actually no one that nobody knows, but I am someone who is here as a first-time guest, and I'm really excited because the person I am nominating, Larry Taylor, is part of the reason. My name is Maureen Porter. I'm getting there. I am a native Oregonian, and I am a lifelong Democrat. I am here because since November, like many people, I have been moved from a state of shock and dismay to a state of determination. I have joined protests, community dialogues, calling campaigns, and I've been moved by the resistance that is being put forth by average citizens like me. But honestly, I have also found myself wondering, where is the Democratic Party? While our elected officials are making me very proud, the party is missing. We took a shattering blow, and a message has been sent demanding change. In a time of polarized politics, we need leadership that understands how to make use of the groundswell of grassroots activism that is underway. I need it. We're missing the link, we're missing the bottom up. And with Larry Taylor's 20 years on the ground in the DPO, his unfaltering commitment to integrity, and his passion for analysis and systems that facilitate inclusive consideration, he is the link, he is the bridge. I have seen his skills in practice because I hired Larry in 2016 as the Operations and Business Systems Manager for my mid-sized nonprofit organization. And his impact has been transformational. And that is what our party needs. That is what we need. That's what I want. And I am asking you to consider this candidate who understands the tools and infrastructure needed to create a well-trained, well-organized, and inclusive bottom-up DPO, and who has demonstrated the passion, commitment, and track record of success needed now. This candidate is Larry Taylor.
Nomination speeches, so we now invite the candidates to come forward. So we'll do reverse order. The first candidate will be Larry Taylor.
Good afternoon. I want to extend a warm welcome to all the new SCC delegates who have waited patiently for their term to begin. Welcome. First though, I especially want to recognize a few members, and if you'll please stand when I call your name. Quentin Sarah Lynch, who revived the Wallowa County Democrats. Marjorie Phelan, who not only founded the Harney County Democrats, but recruited 3 Democrats to run for local elections and will most likely win because they're unopposed. And Les York, who is chair of the newly revived Gillum County Democrats. Welcome. This is a momentous day for the Democratic Party of Oregon. We have 3 officers who are retiring today: Chair Frank Dixon, First Vice Chair Karen Packer, and Second Vice Chair Wayne Kinney. Let's thank them for their years of service to the Democratic Party of Oregon. Today I want to talk about 3 key areas: our aspirations for the Democratic Party, how we achieve those aspirations, and why I'm qualified for your vote. Like many of you, I joined the Democratic Party because I was told it was a great way to make a difference. I was able to achieve success in Clatsop County, which is now predominantly run by Democrats. We have won 11 out of 11 county commissioner races and changed the course of history on the Oregon Post. The Astoria City Council has transitioned from all Republicans to 4 Democrats and 1 non-affiliated, and those Democrats came from the Clatsop County Democrats. I am confident that you can achieve similar success in your county, and the DPO needs to be there to help you to win where you live and work. My plan is to form a team from the leadership of this organization to do what most organizations do, strategic planning and strategic budgeting. We will identify the problems of the party, problems like lack of inclusiveness, struggling county parties, and the threat of an emboldened Republican Party. Minority representation should be at least proportional to the population. We must reach out to these communities, especially the American Indians, the Hispanics, the Asian Pacific Islanders, and the African Americans. And we need to explicitly make that a goal and define how we will measure progress towards this goal. If we believe in a 36-county strategy, then we need to define what 36 effective county organizations look like and how we will measure our progress towards achieving that. It is not unreasonable to fill every PCP slot in the state if we make that a goal. Few of these goals can be achieved for free, so we must do strategic budgeting, identifying resources needed to accomplish those goals. Once the plan and budget are in place, then the DPO leadership must work to see those plans enacted and monitor the progress until they are achieved. And finally, we must restore democracy to the Democratic Party. This is the only way your time here will be well spent. I truly believe the ultimate power in this organization is in your hands. You are who we are here to serve. The role of chairs is to be neutral and carry out the will of the majority. This means bottom-up decision-making, not top-down. Platform and the actions of this organization, and my role as chair would be to ensure that your intentions are carried out. So I've talked about our aspirations for the Democratic Party and how we will achieve those. We must hit the ground running as fast as possible. I am the candidate that can start tomorrow. The coordinated campaign should have started on November 9th. The campaigns for 2018 should be underway now. We need Democrats running in every legislative race in the state. I know how to fix the caucuses, the management structure, adopt new technologies, and run campaigns that win. And I have the track record to prove it. I am the only candidate that can unite the party and stop the infighting that distracts us from our progress and success. We must begin by understanding that Oregon's Democrats have thrown red flags on the party's performance. 35 of 36 counties gave the Democratic Party a message in last year's primary, and that message was that they wanted change. The voters sent another message in last November. In Oregon, they elected a Republican as Secretary of State, and 28 out of 36 counties voted for Trump. You are elected to represent the Democrats of Oregon. I am the candidate that represents positive change. So let me close with the words of John F. Kennedy. So long as there is one child without milk, so long as there is one family without a decent home, so long as there are elderly without sufficient income, working mothers without fair wages, struggling farmers without little income, so long as there are overcrowded schools, inadequate medical programs, and families on relief, so long will be the need for the Democratic Party to continue, and so long will be called upon to assume the responsibilities of leadership. I look forward to working with you all. Thank you.
Second and last candidate for chair of the state party, I invite Jean Atkins to the podium.
Hello, fellow Democrats. It's very good to be here with you today. Good to be among old friends and new friends and partners And despite our many very different viewpoints, we are friends and partners. We're united by our values as Democrats and by our aspirations for our state and our country. You've heard and read a great deal about each of us in the last few weeks. There's little you don't know about my career at this point, but I do want to go back to my family roots for a minute, so you understand a little bit more about what motivates me as a Democrat and prompted my decision to run for DPO chair. I'm the daughter of 2 school teachers, both union members and loyal Democrats. I went to school in a Navy town and to college during those turbulent years of the late 60s. My husband of 45 years is a lifelong Democrat, a Vietnam veteran, and a former aide to Congressman Les Coyne, one of the earliest progressives to represent Oregon in the U.S. House. Yes. My son, a Willamette University graduate, is a lawyer in Dallas, Texas, and although far away, he was last seen representing immigration detainees pro bono with like-minded young lawyers in Texas. I started my career with a law degree and a deep commitment to expanding opportunities for self-determination for women. I've been very lucky to work implementing important democratic values like these for many years. I've earned the trust of those I worked for, worked alongside, and worked to lead. As we, for instance, expanded free birth control services throughout the state of Oregon and established the first automatic voter registration process. Not just by that challenge, but by the opportunities brought to our organization by a new generation with new ways of thinking and action. I want to lead our Oregon Party toward 2 common goals: to achieve a greater democratic voice throughout our state, and to build with other states an effort that returns Democrats to majorities in Congress. Can we do this? Indeed, we must. And yes, there is a path to establishing Democrats again as the national majority. In fact, we have already started. In increasing numbers, young and old alike are turning to our party to resist the dark vision of Donald Trump and his fellow Republicans. Our task is to open our organization to them, to encourage and work alongside these new organizations and individuals to make change, and to do our job of elected leaders who endorse our democratic values of fairness, justice, and opportunity. Neither Trump nor the GOP are on the side of working families. We are. That's our party's history. Among many other achievements, working families of Oregon have Democrats to thank for establishing and increasing the minimum wage, protecting the right of workers to form unions, clean air and water for our families, Social Security, Medicare, and it was Democrats who achieved a long-sought goal of expanded health insurance access, an achievement we protected this week by joining our voices with millions of other Americans to say one united word: no. If you select me as our party chair, I'll bring together the vision of inclusion and action that's represented in this room. People who know me will tell you I'm a good listener, collaborator, and I get things done. But also that it's without a lot of drama and without creating rancor. This campaign has been a privilege for me, although probably like you, I'm glad it's coming to a close. I'm privileged to have spoken to almost everyone in the delegate chamber over the phone to learn of your concerns for the Oregon Democratic Party. And I learned from you that, like visionary Oregonians before us, we have the power in this room to move ourselves forward along the path toward a state and a nation that's truly for the people. I ask for your vote today.
All right, we're ready to vote. So I believe we're going to pass out ballots. and then you're going to take them back to the table and put them in the ballot box. Don't forget, I think you're supposed to do something on the back of the ballot.
So again, do not fold your ballot and do not tear your ballot. It has a perforation on it. Do not fold or tear your ballot. Be sure and sign and print your name on the back. The ballots are turned out in the middle of the room, and we really don't want to lose the folks in the room because they're going to go to the next round. And I need someone with ballots for the folks who are the officers of the party. Anybody else need to turn in their ballot? We're going to close balloting here in just a second. We have one ballot there. We have another ballot right there. All right, last call. Last call. Any final ballots that have to be turned in? Last call. All right, Colleen, all ballots have been turned in. No one is raising their hand to say that they have a ballot. You may take the ballots. And I believe Frank has an announcement.
So, committee members, we will be in recess until the vote counters come back in the room with the result. So, you don't go very far. This should not, as I understand it, take long, given we're using some new technology to count the ballots.
I'm really nervous. Hey, I voted Larry Taylor.
to all the alternates as well. So thank you. Thank you for coming.
That has nothing to do with what you're waiting to hear. I have an important announcement about nothing that you're waiting to hear. So we believe in clean air and clean health. The school folks have asked us to remind you that if you are going to smoke, you need to leave the sidewalk area and stay away from the doors. We've had a couple complaints. Those complaints are correct and accurate, but please get away from the doors if you do need to smoke. Thank you.
We are going to come out of recess in just a few minutes, so please take your seats. So we are coming out of recess. Please take your seats. The body is coming back to order. I call the meeting back to order. Please cease conversation in the aisles. If you want to talk, go outside the room. You can talk all you want in the hall. But we got to get going or we're going to be here. I always feel bad about the folks that have to go across the ranges this time of year in the dark. So let's get going. All right. So the results of the election for state party chair. First of all, we had 1 abstention. We had 1 unsigned ballot. The balance goes as follows. 67 votes for Larry Taylor, 84 votes on Gene.
Thank you all very, very much. This was a very hard-fought race, and I know that both Larry and I have supporters who worked hard, but sometimes in human frailty did not always stay on the path of what was best about each of us as candidates. And I appreciate him for doing what he could to make sure that turned in a different direction, and I hope I did everything that I could do. Our coming together is really the most important thing that can happen here. And I certainly do feel like it's my responsibility to be chair of the whole party, grassroots, all the way up. And thank you very much for the confidence. And get my thoughts together. I think Wayne Kinney has been asked, and with the delegates' leave, that he will manage go through the rest of the elections piece, and then I will pick up the gavel and begin my role as chair. Thank you again, all of you.
By the way, our organizational meetings usually run from 100 to 120 people. So it's really nice that we had 153 here, which is all but a few people on the Central Committee. But not only that, on the vote, even accounting the 1 blank vote and the 1 unsigned ballot, we had exactly 153 votes cast. Usually we're a couple off, and we've got to figure out where that happened. So, you know, most people were paying attention, and it was really nice to see that, and to see our new voting machine work. It just sort of now we've got female vice chair candidates. The candidates are, alphabetically, Christine Chin Ryan, Burgundy Feathercock, and Lapita Mauer. Will the people who are going to be nominating them please step forward? All right. Are there any write-in candidates for female vice chair? Shall nominations be closed? We aren't there yet. Just, you know, we'll get there. We are able to do that, but we'll deal with it. Okay, we've got Michelle up here. We've got okay, Michelle over there. Do we have someone to, let's see, who are you? Christine? Michelle? Who's Burgundy Feather Cow's nominator? Is Burgundy Feather Cow here? Okay, well, we're just going to proceed, and we'll do Michelle and then Michelle.
Christine Chin Ryan is a Chinese immigrant and naturalized citizen. She is a third-generational legacy of female small business ownership and management, passed from grandmother to mother to daughter, arriving in Portland by way of China, Trinidad and Tobago, and New York City. Her background is not one of privilege, but of an immigrant ethic of hard work and sacrifice. As an Asian American and Pacific Islander AAPI person, she will be the first such to hold DPO office. This underserved community is the fastest growing demographic group among Democratic voters in the U.S., and over 240,000 AAPI persons call Oregon home. I first met Christine almost 1 year ago at an event I attended as a Portland Human Rights Campaign political outreach co-chair. Over time, I was impressed to see how quickly she responded to emails and calls and how hard she works. Even more impressive were organizational skills, intelligence, and diligence. Truly impressive, though, are her sincerity, ethics, integrity, fairness, friendliness, compassion, and the ability to listen. What you see is what you get. There is no dissembling, waffling, or disingenuity about her, and if you want something important done right, give it to Christine. It is my privilege and honor to nominate Christine Chin Ryan to be our DPO female vice chair and the DPO's first AAPI officer, reflective of Oregon's true commitment to diversity, outreach, and inclusion.
And I guess I need reminding on this as well, but we need to get closer to the mic when you speak. So.
I am really honored today to be nominating Lupita Maurer as Vice Chair of the Democratic Party of Oregon. I'm Michelle Stranger Hunter, formerly Executive Director of NARAL Pro-Choice Oregon, and that's how I know Lupita. I've known her for over a decade. I met her as the Washington County Chair. She was amazing. I mean, I was a Washington County resident. I saw Lupita's leadership move people to take action, inspire them to get engaged, and to do the really hard work necessary to make change happen. I saw her move Washington County Democrats from the swing district to the strongly blue district that we all needed it to be. I admire her leadership. But I also agree with Governor Barbara Roberts, who really encouraged Lupita to run for this because she has a story that is one to tell of an immigrant teenager. She has a voice that needs to be represented as part of the Democratic Party leadership in Oregon. As an immigrant teenager, she followed for her mother and sister who were already here. She'd grown up as a granddaughter of a Mexican senator, but she wanted to come to the United States, and when she got here for a visit, she didn't leave. She stayed. And she worked hard, and she cleaned people's homes. She did whatever it took to stay here, be here. And when the Immigration Service came to get her at her university, fortunately the Vice Chancellor looked at her record before he turned her over and saw years of straight A's and commendations of excellence. That's the Lupita that we all know. I nominate Lupita. I nominate Lupita from my heart, and I urge you to vote for her as the right leader at the right time for Oregon Democrats. Thank you.
Now, I would like Lupita and Christine to come up. Following the order that Frank established earlier, we will have Lupita speak first and Christine second.
How can I follow that? Mr. Chairman, dear delegates, good afternoon. Thank you, Michelle, for those wonderful words. Thank you, Marion County and the Democratic Party of Oregon for your hard work today. And a huge, huge, huge thanks to all of you who volunteer your time to get me here. I'm forever, eternally grateful to you. My name is Lupita Maurer, and I was born in Mexico City. My grandfather was a senator from Oaxaca who signed the Mexican Constitution in 1917. I was 19 years old when I moved to the U.S. to be with my mother. And one day, Immigration and Customs Enforcement came to the Vice Chancellor's office at my college looking for me. And we refused to tell them where I lived because I had a straight A average. Ever since that act of mercy, I have been given back to the American people. I became a U.S. citizen, and I work in Beaverton, helping to keep high-wage manufacturing jobs here in Oregon. As a software engineer, I have headlined conferences to teach girls about careers in engineering and technology. I have been a volunteer, an organizer, and a leader for the only party, warts and all, that embodies the true spirit of America, the Democratic Party. I started as a PCP. The room of 20 voted me secretary on the spot because nobody wanted the job. I later ran for chair on the vision of creating a strategic plan to elect more and better Democrats. Because until then, Washington County had been a swing district and PCPs were not always effective, wasting too much time, guess what? Bickering. That changed. We focused. We focused on outreach, growing the party from 20 to 100 regularly attending Democrats. We established a permanent office and the sustaining fund that keeps it open. We fundraised around $170,000 in 4 years, thanks to Darren, and hired first paid field director. In our first election cycle, we made thousands of phone calls from that office, and over the course of my 2 terms, proceeded to win election after election to turn the entire county blue. I didn't do this alone. We did it together as a family. Why am I talking about all these accomplishments? To encourage you. As your DPO Vice Chair, I can show you how and use the power of the position to get the help you need. Pat Ackley taught all of us the tips and techniques that she developed as chair in Bend. They worked then, and they will work again across the state. Now, there are a whole host of DPO initiatives that I'm in favor of. Strengthening the coordinated campaign to elect Governor Brown in 2018. No more lip service to the 36 county strategy. When we say we run a 36-county strategy, it means fundraising for counties like Josephine, Walnut, and Harnett. It means to dedicate the staff or hire the staff to travel to these counties and train them on technologies like the van, mobile canvassing, and fundraising. And it means helping all the counties develop their neighborhood leadership programs. Now, the question is, who do you think has the experience to actually lead us there? I have the experience. I have the passion. I know the how to help you. And I will help our chair to get us there. I want to prove to everyone that we can be progressive and pragmatic. I want to teach all of you, our energized membership, all I know, and most important, I want to keep building our party from the grassroots. I accept this challenge. Do you? Humbly ask for your vote.
I am Christine Chen Ryan, and I'm a candidate for the DPO's female vice chair. I will be a catalyst for change and responsive to the will of the party members. Ours is a party of diversity, inclusion, and progress, and we are leaders in the nation's fight for social justice. We have always responded to that call and have come together in the past to win battles for a living minimum wage, affordable housing, address the LGBTQIA issues, reproductive rights, and health care for all. Much, of course, remains to be done. We believe in providing sanctuary and protecting the rights of immigrants, regardless of citizenship status. We believe that Black Lives Matter. We are now in a moment where we need to unite to take the challenges facing our values, as everything we care about is under assault. Veterans' rights and benefits, social safety nets, health care, minimum wage, women's health, environment, immigrant, refugee, and human rights, criminal justice reforms, poverty and equities across the state. It breaks my heart that so many are now being targeted because of Trump's racist, careless rhetoric. Nationally, we lost the White House and remained a minority in both House and the Senate. In Oregon, for the first time in 15 years, we lost statewide race. We are facing an election in less than 2 years, and we will need to be very clear regarding how we will address both the organizational and ideological challenges facing us. We need to begin to address campaign finance reform. No elected official, however ethical, should be required to face the moral hazard of deciding between the interests of their constituents and those of their funders on the occasions when those interests diverge. Corporations are not people. Money is not speech. Having spoken with many of you living in the rural communities over the past few weeks, I believe it is imperative to focus on outreach to broaden and strengthen our presence there. We need to ensure rural schools are supported and that rural residents are able to take advantage of the now affordable courses that will supply skills marketable in the 21st century. We will work to cultivate a strong rural talent pool and work with them to design effective messaging tailored to their community needs. We will address education. We will address the fact that of the nearly 500,000 Oregonians newly covered under the ACA, half are rural residents. And Greg Walden is a leader in the effort to repeal that coverage. We must continue to invest in clean, green, renewable, and efficient energy, and we must practice conservation. During the past decade, the cost-benefit ratio of clean energy generation has plummeted and now surpassed that of coal and petroleum. We are rapidly approaching parity in employment between the clean and carbon-based energy sources. We can increase the number of jobs by supporting local and plant-level solar installation and expanding manufacturing. Last but not least, we can no longer ignore the elephant in our room that is our making and not the GOP's. There was a new energy and an idealism that came into our party last year with Bernie Sanders' candidacy. Assumptions, ideals, personalities, and loyalties were all fiercely debated and continue to be discussed right up to the present. This is healthy and benefits all of us. Without the sand, the oyster doesn't produce a pearl. We need to embrace all opinions respectfully. Now the question is whether we will decide to unite to face our challenges. We begin by first, reaching out to our progressive communities for ideas, conversations, and leadership in partnering to bridge our divides. Fight together and to create a platform that we can all champion and be proud of. Second, we need to fully invest in winning elections at all levels. Third, maintain and grow our majority in the state legislature and retain the state labor commissioner and governor's offices. We cannot lose any of offices at any level if we're to remain the vanguard of progressive values. We must also work to win Greg Walden's seat in Congress. I ask you to consider my qualifications and all that is at stake. We must have leadership that can unite and rise to the occasion. I see a DPO that is open to all and represents the best and brightest of Oregon's abundant diversity. Please share that vision with me and elect me, Christine Chen Ryan, as the DPO's first API officer and new female vice chair. Thank you very much.
Ballots ready to come out. What do you do in the front? What do you do in the back? Great. By the time we get this done, we'll have it done, and then we'll forget after 2 years. But and we're not supposed to fold or bend the ballots. Yeah, James was tearing his. I folded mine. You know, I'm just as guilty as any of you. Folks, I am not advocating for a particular candidate, but every candidate on the ballot is eligible to receive votes.
exciting as he thought it would be?
turned in. Again, final call to turn in your ballot. Going once, going twice, balloting is closed.
out and people were taking pictures. Of course, at the last week, don't you videotape me who you're for?
Yeah, I think I took video of the platform convention. Brad Martin's all like, and I'm all like, what? Democratic.
What's that camera in the back doing?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
What's that microwave oven doing?
with 99 votes, Lupita Maurer. There were 2 votes that were blanks and 1 vote that was spoiled. So, despite all the warnings, the number of spoiled ballots is growing. We are now going to go to male vice chair. We have a nominee, Valdez Bravo. Can you hear me? We have a nominee, Valdez Bravo.
I would have driven you home.
Do we have any write-in candidates, those of you who are visiting the I don't hear anybody offering themselves as write-in candidates. Therefore, I am going to suppose that there are no write-in candidates. And I think we can take a vote to elect Valdez by acclamation. Let me just say that after being a member of the Central Committee since 1991, this is my last vote as a member of the Central Committee. So, all those in favor of electing Valdez by acclamation, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Congratulations.
First, I just want to thank Wayne Kinney for his many years of service to the DPO and to Oregon for the mentorship and guidance he gave me when I decided to run for this position. So I never expected to be here again, because you see, I actually went to middle school here at Judson. So it's kind of surreal standing here as now I guess you're vice chair of the Democratic Party. When 27 years ago I was in the same place just trying to survive. I'm going to skip over a little bit of this, but basically I just want to say, so I grew up here in Salem. I went to Judson, I went to Sprague, I joined the Army for 8 years, I came back home, and when I took off the uniform, I got politically active. It was 2004, there was Kerry Edwards, and they were running the Swift Vote Veterans for Truth campaign against Kerry, and I got really involved with him. And I phone banked, and I canvassed, and I donated, and I did the same thing for Obama in 2008, 2012. And all those times that I got involved with those campaigns, at no point did anybody ever tell me, hey kid, you're doing all this hard work, why don't you come and become a PCP? I had no clue about the existence of precinct committee persons, district leaders, county parties, or even the DPO. I just knew I wanted to elect a Democrat for president. And that's a very limited way to engage in our political system. So in 2015, I became very inspired and activated by Bernie Sanders. I attended house parties, rallies, and debates. And at some point, one of my new political friends said, hey, have you ever thought about becoming a PCP? And I thought, what's a PCP? And since then, I've served as a PCP, National Delegate for Bernie from CD5, a House District Leader and SEC Delegate, and Vice Chair of the Veterans Caucus, which I helped revive in 2016. But I wouldn't have been here to do all this work for the party if someone hadn't first reached out to me and told me how to get involved. And that's what we need to do as a party. Not just up there in Multnomah County, but in all 36 counties. And I believe that the Neighborhood Leader Program is going to be a big part of that going forward. We need to engage our communities, and when we get them to a meeting, we need to make them excited to be there. And I think we do that by making sure they're respected, that they're heard, and that they're put to work doing something meaningful. However, we don't just need to bring new people in, but we need to bring lots of people back. The activists who left because they felt the party wasn't fighting for the same things. And we need to get back to our roots in labor, for they are our original base. But a base who has felt largely ignored in recent years. We need to do this in all 36 counties. I believe there's a real opportunity to build our strength on those red counties, and we do it by extending resources out, by supporting local candidates in rural races, deploying volunteers where they're needed, and by offering resources to the county party leaders. And even more important than addressing our strategy, though, is to address the need to address our culture as a party. Or as Peter Drucker says, culture eats strategy for breakfast. If elected vice chair, I will always lead in a way that promotes a culture. If elected, sorry. I guess. Thank you. As your vice chair, I will always lead in a way that promotes a culture of accountability, integrity, and transparency. I pledge to always seek accountability and hold others accountable as well. I'll ensure the DPO is accountable to the counties and to the people in those counties in which we are charged to serve. In the Army, I learned that when you permit, you promote. And I will always lead in a way that addresses problems head-on in a professional, fair, and productive way. I pledge to always act with integrity and lead in a way that seeks to restore trust and confidence in our party. And I will foster real-time, two-way communication with the SEC, and moreover, I will make sure we have transparency so you are included in the process. Finally, I want to develop our bench and harness the energy of new people coming into the party. I want to ensure that we have a diversity of people and a diversity of ideas in our Big Tent party. And I want to ensure we have true inclusivity where those diverse perspectives are given voice and a seat at the table and the opportunity to lead. We need to deepen our bench and promote good succession planning, just as any other professional organization knows it must do. And finally, I've mentioned many things that our party must do. This is all the strategy, this is the process, this is the thing I think we all agree upon. However, none of this is possible if we don't do one thing first. Move past 2016, come together. Everyone in this room is fighting for noble causes. Social, economic, racial, and environmental justice. And although we may disagree on how best to achieve that, let's not tear each other apart over our differences of approach. If we're to accomplish our bold ambitions and fight against a fascist right-wing agenda, then we have to stop seeing each other as Bernie versus Hillary. We have to stop seeing each other as establishment versus grassroots. We have to stop seeing each other as radical versus liberal. And quite simply, we have to stop seeing each other as us versus them. As your vice chair, I pledge to be an ambassador to all, to use the skills I've honed over the past 22 years in healthcare to bring diverse sets of stakeholders together in order to achieve a common goal. And it is my sincere hope that in the very near future, we are able to dismantle the many labels we often assign, and that we are united in our shared vision for Oregon. Thank you so much for electing me as your vice chair of Oregon, the Democratic Party of Oregon. And I'll just finally pledge to say that in the Army they taught us to leave no one behind. And as your vice chair, I will strive to leave no Oregonian behind. Thank you.
Go on for our final officer election of the day, Secretary. Tanya is very happy. So our candidates are Nathan Stoltz, Alex Josephi, and Gregory Gregg. Do we have write-in candidates for Secretary? Again, one more time. I'm not hearing that we do. Will the people who are nominating Nathan, Alex, and Gregory please come up?
Nevada.
we'll do them in the order that I read. The nominator for Nathan Stoltz, then the nominator for Alex Giuseppe, and then the nominator for Gregory Gregg. 2 minutes.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, Nathan Stoltz is a young man who I've watched grow enormously in the time that I've known him. Nathan currently serves as Vice Chair of the Jackson County Dems. At age 15, Nathan became a volunteer for Oregon United for Marriage. At age 17, he became the Vice Chair of the DPO Latino Caucus, and additionally, he became an SCC and CD2 delegate from Jackson County. Nathan is the author of the immigration article and the preamble for the 2016 DPO platform. He served as recording secretary of the Immigration Committee of the 2016 DPO Platform Convention, and as a member of the Platform and Resolutions Committee, he authored 2 resolutions. Those resolutions were parking rights for disabled citizens, the Syrian refugee crisis resolution, and in 2016, he was the youngest ever DNC delegate from Oregon at age 19. Nathan is young, but he is dedicated, and he is the most qualified person for this job. Being from a smaller county in Oregon, Nathan recognizes the importance of understanding the needs of each and every county. He has been on a listening tour for months now, reaching out to caucus chairs across the state. Personally, I am proud of the fact that Nathan has run a clean campaign and has not engaged in mudslinging. Instead, Nathan has focused on a message of party solidarity. So I hereby nominate Nathan Stoltz for DPO Secretary, and I ask that you support him with your vote as well. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Alex Giuseppe, and I am Alex's mom. I've been a musical performer since about 1970. Thousands of people, but I'm not good at talking. At first I thought maybe I would sing his praises, but then I didn't want to embarrass him. We are from Wallowa County in Joseph, where we've had the ranch since 1962. It's the home of the Nez Perce. And I have to first say I am really proud of Alex even trying to do this. This is the first time for him. He's always been an extremely intelligent young man, has always worked hard for what he wanted and has seen things through. For example, being raised in Wallowa County, the school systems are very small, not academically the best. And Alex had decided at the end of his freshman year, he wanted more for education. So he moved here to Oregon City. He moved in with his sister Amy and her husband Fung and his nephews. And he went to Oregon City and he excelled. He had a full scholarship, got a full scholarship to Linfield, where he did extremely well. His junior year, he spent the year in China. And when he graduated from Linfield, he took himself back to China to learn about the culture and the language, and he would make outings and go out to meet the, I hate the word peasants, the farmers outside of the cities. He's always been very amiable, very sociable. And as I say, no matter what the outcome may be, I'll always be really proud of him, just as I am the rest of my family out there, and they're all here to support him. And I know that he would do a great job. He will put 100% into whatever comes his way. And I know it'll be a good job. And thank you so much for being here.
Madam Chairman-elect, or Madam Chairman-elect. Honored delegates, my name is Kevin Hunt. I'm from Clackamas County. I have the distinct honor of nominating Gregory Gregg for Secretary of the Democratic Party of Oregon. I know that he's going to tell you a little bit more about why he's running and what he stands for, but I want to speak a little bit from personal experience based on some of the themes that we've been hearing today. Aristotle is given credit for coining the term body politic. This is a body politic. Now, in order to tackle what's been referred to as the emerging fascist regime today, we have to go together with a strong body politic. However, strength in a body politic does not come from not having a struggle, whether it's isometric exercise or something I know very well, which is called homeostasis. You see, I am a sleep disordered person. At night, I am an insomniac. During the day, I am a narcoleptic. This happened to me 14 years ago. It's taken a while for me to get my homeostasis together. But do you know what happens if your body is not in homeostasis? You get sick. You get cancer. All kinds of terrible things happen to you. That's what would happen to this body politic if we walk out of here saying that we can't have internal conflict, that we can't have internal struggle, because it's that internal struggle that gives us the homeostasis, that makes us a strong body politic, that is going to let us walk out there and defeat this Trump regime. And so I know that Greg is going to tell you a little bit more about that. But please, remember, homeostasis is what we need, and we're not going to get there if we squelch the yin and yang that's necessary for this to be a healthy body politic. Thank you.
Will Alex and Nathan and Gregory please come forward? We'll do Gregory first, then Alex, and then Nathan.
Hi, my name is Gregory Gregg. Also sometimes known as Guano Loco. Sorry. I'm running for the office of Secretary of the Democratic Party in the state of Oregon, and I can produce an accurate record of Central Committee meetings and perform the other duties of the position. I have no doubt that my opponents can do the same thing. So why vote for me? You could vote for me because I'm an elder who's seeking a seat at the council fire, or you could vote for me because I'm not afraid to talk truth. We cannot make the changes that must be made in the Democratic Party without rhetoric, only with rhetoric that offends no one. Let's get to the heart of the matter. The National Democratic Party has failed. The Oregon Democratic Party has not failed yet. We're still in the running. But it has been following the same path that wrecked the National Party. The National Party, despite its failures, refuses to recognize its responsibility for its failure. Yes, there is a schism in the Democratic Party, not so much, I think, between the Democratic voters, but between the National Party, the national leadership, and the voters. I think that's why we need some straight talk. Bernie and Hillary represent two distinct philosophies of politics. Many of us followed the leadership when they told us that Bernie could not win. We also believed them when they told us Hillary couldn't lose. We had and we still have bad national leadership. They have not changed their guiding philosophy. And that means it's up to us here in Oregon to change the Democratic Party at the state level. In my opinion, big money contributions are bribes. Politicians who not only accept them but chase after them are corrupt. Yes, they think they can do good things for the people if they take the money so that they can get into positions of power, but look where it's gotten us. Money turns the best-intentioned politicians into cowards, afraid to speak out for fear of offending their donors. How many Democratic representatives and senators spoke out against the Dakota Access Pipeline? How many spoke out against the brutalization and violation of the constitutional rights of Native Americans? How many spoke out against fracking or offshore drilling? How many spoke out? How many spoke out about the murder by police of unarmed black men, both on the street and in custody? There are many things that they could have spoken out against while we still had the Senate and the presidency, but they were silent. Now they think it's enough for them to speak out against Trump while they're still taking money. Bernie Sanders may never be president, but he has shown us a way to change the Democratic Party. Small individual donors, intensive organized grassroots action, tabling at public events, rallies in support of our candidates, phone banks, and canvassing. That's how he got what he did. We must tap into the nonpartisan activist organizations that are already exist. Join them and fight for their causes and recruit Democratic candidates from their ranks. They will become Democrats. The voters woke up in 2016. Now it's up to us to bring the Democratic Party, bring them to the Democratic Party by giving them honest representation, a platform that speaks to them and from which they can speak. It is not enough to wait for Donald Trump to chase voters to the Democratic Party. We have to go get them. Bernie's platform is a platform of economic, social, racial, and environmental justice. It's what the people want. Please, let me be part of the leadership that takes us there. My name is Gregory Gregg. Thank you.
Today, I could ask you for your vote because of my ethnicity, because I would probably be the first Native American on the leadership of the DPO, but I don't want you to vote for me because of identity politics. I could attack my candidates subtly like we've seen for the past 2 weeks, but I don't think that's how you should win elections. Or I could bring up that I was a national delegate for Bernie Sanders, but I don't want you to vote for me based on the presidential candidates I supported, but instead because of ideological differences. So instead, my speech today will be about words. The words that you all have been hearing in phone calls, in emails, in the town hall, and especially here today. Transparency. Every candidate from chair down to secretary today is promising transparency, but what are they doing about it? I've already created a Facebook page and a website specifically for disseminating the records and the minutes to all of the delegates and the alternates. And I've been calling companies for conference calling because many of the rural Oregon Democrats have shared that they can't make it out for all of the meetings down here. I only have 5 minutes and my speech is long. And it's not just transparency of the DPO. Over this election, I have said things that are absolutely not safe for me to say. I've mentioned how my work experience is the absolute opposite of politics. I've worked as a dishwasher, a server, graveyard shifts in a factory. I talked about my struggle with depression, and I mentioned how I had to battle myself out of homelessness. These are things that don't help me get elected at all, but I think that if you're going to vote for me and I'm to represent you, you should know me as a person. I'm not just blindly promising transparency, I've been living it. Unity. Everybody is throwing around that word, but I fear that they underestimate how hard it's going to be to achieve it. The primaries still linger in the way that we communicate with each other, but how are we going to overcome that? It's only going to be achieved by having the conversations that we've been avoiding. Semi-open versus closed primaries, superdelegates, yellow dog Democrats, money and politics. So I've already been writing up a plan to present to the now chair, Gene Atkins, so that we can open up a discussion between the delegates and alternates. Believe it or not, the people who are sitting next to you, no matter how much they disagree with you, want what's best for the people of this state. That's why they're here. Really long speech. Rural. That's that's the current buzzword that everybody is using. And I could say, you know, I'm from Malala County, so give me your vote, but instead I've been putting in the work. My first thing that I did when I got the list of delegates was call every single C2 delegate, the alternates, and the county chairs of the counties that weren't on the list. And on top of that, I have called Wyoming, West Virginia, North Dakota, and Oklahoma state Democratic parties and tried to speak with their state chairs. And I've asked them the tough questions on how they're pushing progress in the most red states in America. Questions like, how do you get voters to turn out? How do you find candidates to run against GOP incumbents? How do you get people involved in the party? How do you focus on local elections? And how do you make sure that you represent minorities in your state? I feel that we can learn the most from the states that are the reddest in this country. I'm not just saying I will fight for Oregon, I already have been. And the last word I want to talk about is promise. Now, the sheets in front of you have a hefty list of promises, and based on the phone calls that I've given to all of you, they're not endorsements. I apologize if they came off that way. Of course, I would make that mistake in my very first election. In the audience today is my family, and my brother-in-law, Fong Ha, is back there, and when I lived with him in high school, he used to make me read these self-help books. And I remember one of them told you that you should plan out your future. 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. Who are you going to be, and how are you going to do it? And you type it all out, and you put it on your wall, so that every day after you wake up, and every day when you fall asleep, you read it to remind yourself how you're going to achieve those goals. Well, that sheet that is in front of all of you is on my wall in my room right now. And after I win this election, if I do, I plan on having all of your names on it so that I can represent all of your voices. The truth is, all of the candidates today have their strengths. A vote for Nathan is a vote for a well-spoken man that's carving out his future. A vote for Greg is a man with passion that keeps him grounded in his convictions. But a vote for me is a vote for every person in here and every promise on that list. A man that doesn't just use words, but gives them meaning. And I want to thank you for your time, but before I close out here, I would ask that you don't give me your applause, but instead I would humbly ask that you all stand up and join me in giving your applause to my brother-in-law, my sister, and my mom in the back, because without them, I wouldn't be here today. Thank you for your time.
Well, first let me thank Travis for giving that amazing nomination speech. You are an incredible fighter for us, and I really hope that I get to work with you on the DPO admin team. By now, all of you should know what I am offering to bring to the position if I am so fortunate as to be elected secretary. But the question that I have been asked the most on this campaign is not about my politics, but rather about me personally. So before I remind you all what I will do as secretary, let me properly introduce myself. My name is Nathan Soltis. I am the vice chair of the Jackson County Democrats, the vice chair of the DPO Latino Caucus, staff for Senator Lou Frederick, and a sophomore at Western Oregon University with hopes of becoming a civil rights attorney. A little over 19 years ago, in 1997, I was born in Medford, the city where I was raised and still call home. I am proud to have attended public schools my whole life, attending public elementary, middle, and high schools in Medford before attending a year of community college and now finishing my degree at one of Oregon's public universities. I am the proud son of an immigrant. My mother was born and raised in El Salvador, and before coming to the United States as an undocumented orphan when she was 14 years old. She came to this country smuggled in a wooden box in the bottom of a van. She knew no English when she finally made it to Los Angeles, but was ultimately captivated by the words of President Kennedy. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And when I am asked what I do, why I do what I do, I tell them that I do it in pursuit of fulfilling that ideal. And as you heard from Travis, I've been on that pursuit since I was 15, because I felt that if I wasn't going to be able to vote, I wanted to be sure that the people who could vote did vote. Because the Democratic Party is the party stopping this country's policies from going upside down and backwards. And I don't mean the Democratic Party in an abstract sense. I mean the progressive activists, like all of you, who are on the ground in your communities fighting the good fight for progressive change. And I'm happy to have had support throughout my time in politics. But I have also had my fair share of detractors. People have told me to wait my turn. And there's always skepticism about my ability to fulfill the duties I had taken on because of my age. But I've never let my age inhibit my work. And when I went to the Democratic National Convention last year, I was proud to be Oregon's youngest ever national delegate and represent not only Oregon's Democratic youth, but also our Democratic Latinos and Asian Americans. Being a teenager does not stop me from doing my part in making communities better and safer for their inhabitants. And now more than ever in my lifetime, admittedly, a short time that has been, we need to stand strong together. And I've been on a listening tour of our county parties because if I'm so fortunate as to win this election, I want to go right into the work of electing Democrats because the next elections aren't in 2018, they're in May, just over 7 weeks from now. And while the rural-urban divide is seen and felt by many in this party, we also need to understand that our communities of color see the issue quite differently. And we need to start reaching out to our friends and allies in minority communities and communities of color so that we can truly come to understand how our great Democratic Party can best serve the people we claim to fight for. And so that they know that we really, truly do care about them, and that we really, truly do want to listen. We need a responsive party, a small d Democratic party. And as secretary, I do not want to let the regular duties of the position go unnoticed. So about a week ago, I sent out an email to the SCC members letting them know what they can expect from me as secretary. And let me boil down those pledges to 2 brief points. First, you'll get information from me quickly and directly. And second, you will always be welcomed by a transparent process of doing business. My name is Nathan Soltz. I am 19 years old. I am Latino. I am an Asian American. I am a registered voter in Congressional District 2. I am a student. I am a Democrat. And I stand before you today to humbly ask for your vote to be the next secretary of the Democratic Party of Oregon. Thank you.
Okay, so we got votes coming. Most of you know what to do. Now, there are 3 candidates. There is a possibility that we'll have a runoff. So stay tuned. We'll see what we have. And then, of course, we've got other stuff happening this day, and we'll talk about how we manage all that.
We did have a folded ballot. Don't fold your ballots. Are we still handing out ballots to the people who don't have ballots? There's some people right here who don't have ballots. Is there anybody else who does not have their ballot? I'm looking at this one section here. Is there anybody else? And someone's handing out those ballots to them. I want to make sure everyone only gets one ballot. Yes. Oh boy. Yeah, I would. I go to the credentials chair. I go to which Does everybody have a ballot? Great. That have not yet been turned in by people who aren't in the line. Any ballots? I'm going to do this really loudly. We had someone not hear the announcement. Are there any ballots that have not been turned in yet? Okay, we want to get folks in line. There's a couple ballots still coming. Again, are there any ballots in the room that have not yet been turned in? Any ballots? Is there anybody? Can someone holler in the hallway, please? Carl Fisher, could you announce in the hallway that ballots need to be returned right now? Are there any other ballots that need to be turned in? Any other ballots? There is a ballot to be turned in. Any other ballots to be turned in? You need to speak up, shout out, raise your hand and wave it if you have a ballot that you haven't turned in. Going once, going twice. I am saying as slowly as I can. Going twice. I am saying even slower. We're about to close balloting. We are closing balloting now. Happen 3 hours from now. This will happen 3 hours. I want everyone to look at their seat, their chair. Attention. Important announcement. You'll learn the secret decoder ring. Attention, look at your chair. Wherever you're sitting in the room, look at your chair. Look at it lovingly. realize that you want to take care of your chair and respect the beautiful building we're in. And in the back of the room, there are 2 racks. In about 2 hours from now, when you forget, I will remind you that you need to pick up your chair, carry it out with you, and put it in the rack. This is called foreshadowing in movies. I want you to help us clean the room when we get done. Thank you so much. Is Candy or Rachel in the room? Rachel's not in the room. Is DPO staff. So a few people are leaving. We do like your name tags back. There'll be a box in the back of the room, but just put your name tag on the credentials table as the box isn't back there. We'd love you to actually stay. There are important votes on regional representatives to the executive committee. There's a number of important resolutions, but if you do have to leave, we do want to get your name tags back. I promise not to read the entire 14-page accomplishments list during my report, just to make sure that it's as short as it can possibly be.
like to hear the results of this election? Okay. Y'all ready? Yes. Y'all tired of being in the room? Yes. All right. We're working our way to accommodate that. All right, so the vote total in reverse order. Gregory Gregg, 9. Nathan Stoltz, 63. Alex Josephi, 77.
Before we move on, let's hear from our new secretary.
It's good that they just want me to make this brief because I definitely didn't plan out anything to say, but I really want to thank all of you who have gave me your time and your confidence to be in this position. You have no idea how much I respect it. It may just seem like secretary, but it means so much to me. Thank you.
I think for all of us who named your votes today, Alex expresses very well how we feel. We're both excited, daunted, and know that we need to build your trust from here. This is going to be a little wobbly because I haven't done this yet, but the next item on our agenda is a recess to elect SCC members to the Executive Committee. We were to adjourn at 4. It is beyond that now. I'm advised that under our rules that is something that can take place at the next SCC meeting. In order to have time to consider our resolutions, the 2 that have already come to the floor, and then the other one from committee that will require a greater majority because it hasn't gone through all its steps yet. And so I'm going to ask for the assent of the group to move that we do not do the election of SEC members to the Executive Committee until our next meeting.
Good to meet you. I've got really good things to follow.
Oh, to your motion, what is the order of the day motion that you wish to make? Okay, so there's objection to the possibility of moving the SEC stuff off to the next meeting. Yes, the Rules Committee Chair can address the group.
We have got probably another 2 hours of business to conduct. Those of you, there are some of you excited to be here for another 2 hours to conduct business, but there are many of us who have a drive of 2 or 3 hours more to get home, or more. Mine is 3 hours, we've got people with far longer. The bylaws allow us to have these regional elections at the next meeting. And really, we have this room before, we should be clearing out of it now. So we've got to think about people's ability to pay attention, people's ability to get home safe, and I strongly urge that we do what we're allowed to do and move the regional elections back. The delegate asked about how these things are organized. The regional caucuses. There is Standing Rule 9 covers that, step by step. So that's how it lays out how they're organized. In every case, people on the executive committee, people on standing committees, etc., continue until they're replaced.
No, there wasn't a motion to delay. There was a chair indicated motion, and then there was a motion to follow the order of the agenda.
Hello. Hi, I'm Melissa, the chair of the Veterans Caucus, and if there's a safety concern for people with long drives to be able to get home, I move to continue this meeting within 30 days via teleconference the way we did the winter meeting.
We have a motion on the floor to continue with the agenda as printed, and it was seconded. So that's the motion on the floor now. No, the earlier motion was to continue today with the agenda as it is. We have to deal with the first motion before we can continue.
I oppose the motion I would like us to continue to get to the resolutions and follow the recommendation of eliminating the election of the executive committee, the rest of the executive committee, and I think that means I oppose this motion.
So a delegate is taking an opposition to keep the agenda as it is. Is there someone else who would like to speak in support of the motion?
And the reason for that, can I say, is that we have legislation ongoing right now in the legislature, and these resolutions pertain to those things.
Very good. Is there someone who would like to speak in favor of the motion of keeping the SEC regional?
Thanks everyone for watching, and I'm going to sign off now because this is getting kind of long. Thanks again. Bye.